global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello fam, welcome back to our channel. We are actually going back to Imo State again. If you check our feeds, just fairly recently we carried the news concerning the issue of Governor Uzodinma buying 20 brand new SUVs, sport vehicles to the judges, Imo State judges, to facilitate their harmonious working relationship between the executive arm, the judiciary arms, and also the legislative arm. Don't also forget that earlier in the year when he was sworn in, he encouraged the legislatures to also work harmoniously with him to take Imo State to greater heights, of which all the PDP, virtually almost all the PDP senators ported and moved to APC, obviously, but probably that's how to work harmoniously. I wouldn't know that anyway, but that's what happened eventually. Now it has extended the love and harmonious art to judiciary, of which they took delivery of 20 brand new SUVs. Okay, but that's not where we are heading now. The trending news right now is the fact that, earlier we also mentioned the fact that the lower cadre staffs have not been paid their salaries, despite the fact that he said there's money crunch, there's no money in the state, there's no money in Imo State, but that he's trying to investigate the lootings and the fraudulent activities of the past governors just so that he can get the money they have looted. Well, one would understand if there's no money in the state, but buying SUV cars to judiciaries in whatever guise it is, to me, I feel it's a no-no, being the fact that they are still civil servants being owed their salaries. But this is the news. Now the news is, but before we go into the newspaper, please, we would like you to subscribe. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel now by clicking on the red subscribe button below. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead and do so. God bless you as you do so. Okay, now the news right now is the fact that Governor Hope Uzodinma, the Imo State government has suspended a broadcaster for daring to complain of non-payment of her salaries and that of her colleagues. The government says she's not remorseful. Okay, now we all know that every salary earner, every worker, every employee is entitled to his or her wages. Okay, now even if there is no money in the land, there's no money in Imo State, wisdom demands that you carry the employees along. Okay, let them know, look, everybody understand the COVID-19 lockdown thing. Everybody understand that economically now Nigeria is a bit on its lowest ebb, whatever reason, but it's on lowest ebb. So one understands that there's no money coming in from the federation account to a great extent now. But buying SUV cars for judiciary, say you want a harmonious relationship, this is the best harmonious relationship you can have with Imolite. Paying their salaries, you're not doing them a favor. It's your duty as the governor of Imo State or any governor at all to pay salaries to workers. It's part of your job function. So it's not a favor. If they have worked for you, you should pay them, regardless of the fact that it's just their right. We are in democracy, and these are the things we're talking about. And Nigerians have taken time to react to this, because as I'm talking to you, be seeing, for those of you who may doubt it, because very soon they may come out and say it's fake news. We are used to it in Nigeria, but then you see the indefinite suspension they give to her. Now, in Senate claims, in a formal setting, when one gives you indefinite suspension, it's a nicer way of saying that you have been sacked. Really, it's just a nicer way that you have been sacked. Giving indefinite suspension, it means it's not never ending suspension. That means you're no more on the job. You have been relieved of your duties. You're no more wanted. Now Nigerians have taken time to react to this situation. A lot of Nigerians have come online and some of them said, look, sue straight away. Say it's your right to protest, and it's also her right to be paid. Get a good lawyer and be done with them in no time. Sue for damages as well, madam. And they cannot unjustly terminate her appointment. That is why so many things are done wrong. So many things are wrong in this country. It's majorly due to oppression. It's bad enough that you're not paying them their salaries. Must they not also complain that they've not been paid salaries? It's bad enough that the economy is bad. Now, this is where we are heading to. That the fact that we're in democracy, but we're practicing African democracy, where you should be suffering and smiling. The judiciary, you bought new SUV cars, brand new SUV cars. Did they ask you that they are lucky cars? Misplaced priorities. Why should you be buying giving monies meant for civil servant salaries? They have worked all day and night for their jobs, for their salaries, and time for payment, you say there's no money. And this is COVID-19 lockdown, for crying out loud. They need the monies to stay afloat. Now, Nigerians have reacted greatly. A lot of persons have said, look, the truth of the matter is, he said that, guess what? Said those in government, the presidency, the NASDAQ, the National Assembly, the governors, and all of them say they will all get their salaries as at when due every month, including in this COVID period. But the ordinary masses, they won't, and they are expected to be happy. They should be happy about it. Come on, isn't the government supposed to be remorseful for making one go hungry at this time of the year, at this coronavirus time? That somebody should be hungry at this coronavirus time, where palliatives are not even getting to the common man, and you will still work, you still go out there to work, and at the end of the month, the government will put their hand in their nose and say, there's no money anywhere. But at the end of the month, they get paid as government workers. I'm talking about as senators of whatever republic, and they get paid as governors, and they get paid in their various parastatals, and this common man will not be paid. And you said, no, why should they react? Say, if we all think of ourselves, we won't do anything for others. Don't be surprised to hear she's employed elsewhere. But let's be truthful, whether she's employed elsewhere or not, the truth of the matter is, has she worked for her pay? Yes. Then she should be paid for all her work she has done. Let's continue. Let's feel the pulse of Nigerians over this same matter. This one here is saying, someone speaks up about something and you suspend them. When will these leaders stop being a terror and actually lead? We should be able to speak up when we are not comfortable, and you should be able to do the right thing despite your impressions. This one here is saying, see oppression. In a country where one man speaks and others watch, oppression is imminent. If only they all stood as a broom to request their wages, there's no way they can all be sacked, and that's true. She should just resign. I'm sure better things are coming her way. Well, let's be truthful. Are there jobs in Nigeria? There may not be jobs. You're saying the better ways, except God intervenes here. So I say, recently, the same Imo State government bought fleets of SUV cars for judges in Imo State Judiciary, even when workers are being owed a backlog of salaries. And a worker who legitimately complained about the non-payment of her salaries has gotten fired for being unremorseful. Uzodinma, meaning good country, good country that is functional. Her government says she won't get palliative because she's not among the poorest of the poor. And yet her government won't pay her salaries because she's supposed to understand that the government officials need it more than she does. May the next thunder. I would rather not read that part because that's more abusive. This one continues. This one here is saying, I have said it once and I will say it again. The real enemy of my people is here. I will not disagree. I will not disgrace my religion, my people, or myself by becoming a tool to enslave those who are fighting for their own justice, freedom, and equity. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I feel that it has gotten too far. When you talk, this is the same thing Amoyele Sowore is talking about. You talk, you get beaten. You don't talk, you get beaten. Man, not talk anyway. If there was no SUV bought for anyone, one would understand. But the fact that there's enough money to buy SUVs for judiciary and backlog of salaries to be paid is not being paid. Everybody, see, I keep saying this thing, political. Let's call a spade a spade. How can people work for their salaries, you don't pay them? And you expect them to be smiling. And she dares to complain, and the next thing she gets is indefinite suspension, which is a sack. Which means that indefinite suspension is without pay and benefit, depending on how long she has worked in that parastatal. And now this is going to instill fear in any other person who would dare to complain that they've not been paid their salaries, which means they should get ready. What happened in Kogi some years back may likely happen in Imo State, where there'll be backlog of payment Some of the case not the way it's going. I just hope that if there's no checks and balances, Imo State may experience backlog of salary payments where they don't get salary. Some of them may be owed 1 year if this continues unabated, if it continues unchecked. If already legislative is working harmoniously with the executive and judiciary wants to enter the harmonious relationship, I don't know who is going to save Imolite, because the beauty of democracy is the checks and balances of the three arms of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Now, if they are now, all of them are now working harmoniously, it is not going to go well for Imolite. I just hope, I pray that Imolite know what they are doing. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our comment section. What do you think about the new harmonious relationship that is about to unfold in Imo State, and how the Imolite will begin to enjoy the new type of governance that's about to unfold, regardless of party differences or religious lines? Let's interact. But if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so now. Stay